Also from way back in the day, Ric Flair had a nice day when Mick Foley joined him to talk about their infamous fight backstage at WWE.
You know, Vince is going to be right most of the time. I just thought he was wrong when it came to the importance of that. I thought that match was a big match, and I just
we just got cut short of interview time. We didn't get cut short in the match.
No.
Interviews were magic.
And when we did have the interview, we knocked it. We had a heck of an interview. But I was like, where's the promotion for the interview? You know, like, aren't they going to talk about the match? And it was just one of those things where, you know, Vince was on a different page, and he didn't see it as being as important as we did, or that I think most of the fans did. And I think it was just a missed opportunity. And then we went out there, and we had a heck of a match.
Yeah, it was fun.
Man, it was we went out there in the Meadowlands, and we had that great promo segment. I was just waiting, when something's a priority and when something's not, and in that case, that match wasn't a priority for the company, and I thought it should have been.
Well, at that point in my career, everything for me was a plus, and getting to work with you, it's like, if you think about it, I went there in 2001, right? I was never supposed to work. I still got the contract. You'll never have to wrestle. Okay. I wasn't there 6 weeks, and I was wrestling Vince at the Royal Rumble.
In Atlanta, yeah.
In Atlanta, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm getting to wrestle Taker, which WrestleMania, which really was great for my self-confidence, because I wasn't ready to come back. I was too beaten down by then by the WCW stuff.
Yeah.
But I actually felt like I had I had a terrible match with Vince. I just wasn't ready. But I felt like Taker really. I mean, he did. Taker put me back on the map, man. When a guy that's 15 years younger than me throws me in a corner and I miss the flip, and he pulls me back and says, "You ready to try it again, kid?" I felt pretty good. I said, "Let her go, man."
That's awesome.
And he threw me in and gave me the boot, and that meant I could pull for the sword. By the time, if I can get to the sword, man, I can make it through it. Get me to taking the tape off my finger, and the rest of it I can handle.
You're listening to Woo Nation right here on Play.it. Of course, our guest, Mick Foley. You can check him out on Twitter at Real Mick Foley, and catch him online at realmickfoley.com. If you haven't had the pleasure of seeing Mick do one of his one-man performances in person, you should. I've seen it 3 times. It gets better every time. If you've never heard his Jim Cornette impression, that's worth the price of admission alone. And we're talking about all things old school WWE today, and I guess we should just go ahead and finally address the elephant in the room. Although you guys did have some really cool matches in 06, it probably was born out of a little real-life animosity. I know everybody's getting along now, but there was some back and forths in some books, and then backstage in Huntsville, Alabama, of all places.
That's where Conrad's from.
It got a little real.
It's the greatest line I've ever heard. I was sitting there with Arn. He throws down the book and said, "What's this all about?" I got up and punched him in the mouth. He no-sold it. And it was over.
Yeah, I may have no-sold it physically. Emotionally, it hurt.
Yeah, but if you're a guy throwing it, I don't feel the emotion.
Exclusive, Rick. When your book came out, and you and I had been getting along, really good. We did the evolution thing, and I didn't realize that the receipt,
Sure.
the receipt was necessary. And
it probably wasn't, but they weren't. That was after my airplane incident, and they wouldn't let me get out or anything else. So I said I can at least give Mick a shot,
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. I said worse about Diamond Dallas Page.
WWE probably should have pulled us aside before any of that stuff, but I was like, I gotta address this somehow.
Well,
and I've never been a bully in my life, but honestly, in Huntsville, I went up. I mean, and I guess the intention was to make Rick look bad, in front of the boys.
So you're in catering when this happened?
He went to shake my hand. I wouldn't shake his hand, and I said, "You want to sign this book for me?" And I had envisioned a lot of scenarios. And never once did I envision Rick getting up and punching me. Like, that was never even entered my mind. And to this day, there's another thing. Rhino is the only guy who knows this. So until now, and Rhino has never called me on it either. But when they were pulling us apart, Rhino was the main guy holding me back. Let me just say, he didn't have to work very hard to hold me back because I wasn't actually trying to make forward progress. Rick's anger, it caught me off guard. I never saw that coming, and I was like, what have I gotten myself into? So it was an unfortunate thing, but I said it was almost before that. We had this, this big boil, and we were trying to put a Band-Aid on it. And instead of, pretending it wasn't there, in that one day in Huntsville, we kind of lanced it and got all the bad stuff out. And
well, what started it all for me is, I swear, everywhere I went for about 3 years, people would say, "Did you read what Foley said about you?" And I said, "No, I never read his book. I mean, I haven't read a book since I was."
You didn't even read your own book.
I didn't even read my own book. Thank you. I barely look at my DVDs. I mean, okay, I was there. What's there to look at, right?